Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Former Commissioner General of Motor Traffic and two others arrested over corruption allegations. Former Controller General of Immigration and Emigration admits to contempt of court charges. Committee concludes evidence in probe against Deshabandhu. Former Sri Lankan Airlines chairman remanded until the 15th of July. Japan grants $2.5 million to strengthen anti-corruption. Seatbelt law for bus drivers enforced from today. Bus fares reduced slightly following fuel price adjustment.
On to those stories in detail now. Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayathunga ordered that former Commissioner General of Motor Traffic Nishanta Anuruddha Veerasinghe and two others arrested by the Bribery Commission be remanded until the 8th of July. The suspects, who were taken into custody by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, were produced before the Chief Magistrate's official chambers. Following the hearing, the court issued the remand order.
Former Commissioner General of Motor Traffic Nishanta Anuruddha Veerasinghe, retired Assistant Director of IT Priyantha Bandara Iriyagama and Clerk Attaragama Gedara Dhammika Niroshan were remanded until the 8th July following a court order issued by Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayathunga. According to a report submitted to the court by Bribery Commission officials, the suspects are accused of approving the issuance of license plates for a jeep that had not been cleared by Sri Lanka Customs and was registered illegally with the Department of Motor Traffic. The alleged actions are said to constitute offences under the Bribery Act. Investigations have revealed that 177 vehicles were illegally imported and registered in violation of the law. Bribery Commission officials requested that the suspects be remanded, citing the ongoing nature of the investigation. Although Defence Counsel applied for bail, the Chief Magistrate rejected the request and ordered the suspects to be held in remand custody.
Former Controller General of Immigration and Emigration Harsha Ilukpitiya informed the Supreme Court that he unconditionally admits guilt in the contempt of court charges filed against him for failing to implement an interim order related to the e-visa issuance process. Ilukpitiya also notified the court that he would withdraw his previous statement in which he had claimed to be not guilty. After considering his statement, the Supreme Court fixed the matter for sentencing on the 24th of July. During the previous administration, a cabinet decision was made to outsource the e-visa issuance process to two private companies. In response, members of Parliament Partli Champika Ranavaka, M.A. Sumanthiran and Rauf Hakim filed fundamental rights petitions requesting the Supreme Court to issue an order nullifying that decision. On the 2nd of August last year, the Supreme Court granted leave to proceed with the petitions and issued an interim order suspending the implementation of the cabinet decision. On the same day, the Supreme Court issued a further directive to the Immigration Controller to continue issuing e-visas under the existing system. The petitioners later filed contempt charges alleging that Harsha Ilukpitiya failed to comply with the court's interim order. On the 25th of September, the Supreme Court ordered Ilukpitiya to be remanded until the conclusion of the case. Today's hearing was held before a three-judge bench comprising of Justices Yasantha Kodagoda, Janak De Silva and Arjuna Obesekara. During questioning by Justice Kodagoda, Ilukpitiya explained, quote,
Your Honour, I sought advice from the Attorney General regarding the interim order. I was instructed to await further clarification from the court. Until such clarification was received, the Secretary to the Ministry informed me not to act on the order. I followed those instructions. At the time, I had already requested early retirement and a transfer to another institution.
End quote. Justice Kodagoda then asked whether Ilukpitiya had been pressured by a higher authority not to implement the court order. Quote,
Your Honour, Secretary Vyaniguna Tilaka instructed me, both verbally and in writing, not to implement the order until further advice was received from the Attorney General.
So you are saying you did not implement the order based on the Secretary's instructions. When exactly did you receive those instructions?
Your Honour, I don't recall the exact date, but it was before I left the country. I received both verbal and written instructions.
End quote. Representing the petitioners, Attorney at Law Rauf Hakim argued that the violation was not a personal decision by Elukpitia, but a deliberate act that caused significant harm to the national economy. Partly Champika Ranavika, also appearing before the court, claimed that the e-visa process had long been plagued with corruption. He alleged that an item which could be obtained for $1 via Mobitel was instead procured for $25, resulting in a loss of 3.71 billion rupees to the country. He added that a parliamentary committee had requested the Auditor General to conduct a forensic audit into the matter. Representing Elukpitia, President's Counsel Salia Pires said that his client was not guilty of any personal wrongdoing but had unfortunately acted in a wrong post at the wrong time. He requested leniency, noting that Elukpitia had now admitted guilt. After reviewing the submissions, the Supreme Court bench instructed that any written submissions related to the case be filed within 2 weeks. Elukpitia is due to be sentenced on the 24th of July.
The committee investigating serious allegations against suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon has concluded its evidence gathering phase, marking a critical step in the process that could lead to his official removal from office. The committee has now set the 8th of July as the deadline for parties to submit written submissions. Meanwhile, tensions rose during the final hearing when the committee chair expressed dissatisfaction with a statement made by Tennakon's lawyer. At the conclusion of today's testimony, the following exchange took place.
This was the conversation that ensued at the end of the inquiry today.
There is no issue here about victory or defeat. What matters is that justice is served. We have led evidence until 9 p.m. I extend my gratitude to everyone who participated in this process.
Your Honour, I say this personally. My client spoke to me, the leader of the opposition spoke to me, and the Prime Minister also spoke to me. We never believed this committee would deliver justice. Some documents were not initially provided to us, which caused us significant distress and had a serious impact. We came here knowing this. My client even said that if justice is not served, we should withdraw from the committee. He was personally targeted and subjected to discomfort. Because the media is present, my client was personally targeted. I never believed this committee would deliver justice.
We have submitted all the documents.
After all this time, you make such a statement. All documents have been submitted. Do not make false claims. You're saying things that did not happen. You cannot lie and say your client was denied justice.
Former police spokesman SSP Buddhika Manatunga and Assistant Superintendent of Police YS Kirti Singha from the CID testified before the committee. The committee questioned the former spokesman about his public statements regarding Deshabandhu Tennakon.
On the 27th February 2025, the Mathura court named Deshabandhu Tennakon as a suspect along with 7 CID officers. Yet, you only reported this on the 6th March. Where were you? Were you aware he had gone missing? Why was there a delay?
When did you learn that he had gone missing?
Your Honour, I found out 2 days later, but the media kept asking me about it continuously.
Are you aware that on the 28th, Deshabandhu Tennakon removed his security officers, firearms and vehicles?
Your Honour, I inquired about this from the supervising officer. I cannot confirm if it was exactly on the 28th, but it was around at that time.
He emphasized that his media statement was not based on personal opinion, but was made in line with departmental requirements.
I closely follow the developments regarding the IGP. I regularly ask the acting IGP what should be done. He instructed me to seek public cooperation. If he had gone into hiding, that would be a punishable offence under the penal code. That's why I made that statement during the media briefing. It was due to the damage to the police reputation and the public criticism. Some media even asked why he hadn't been arrested yet. I didn't make that decision alone. There was a need to inform the public that investigations were ongoing.
Although Dilip Peiris requested that the media briefing on the 6th of March be replayed before the committee, Sanjeeva Veeravikrama, counsel for Deshabandhu Tennakon, objected. Ultimately, the committee unanimously decided not to present the video before the committee.
I suggest that you personally made that statement against Deshabandhu Tennakon. Your Honour, he has helped me personally. He has said I do my job well. I had no personal reason to say anything like that in the media briefing. I acted in my capacity as police spokesperson.
ASP YS Kirtisengha was questioned extensively about the failure to arrest Deshabandhu Tennakone following a court order related to the W15 hotel shooting incident.
We searched about 20 locations, including Nugegoda, Hokandara, Gampula, Nitambuwa, Giriulla and Bopitiya. We even questioned his sister, who was running a hardware store. Their main house was locked. We searched that night too. Our officers were stationed there overnight. It was a surveillance operation. The former IGP was not at home. Our officers did not carry firearms during the operation. We used 3 vehicles. We searched for 11 days but could not locate him.
An exchange took place with regard to the failure to follow basic steps in an investigation.
I suggest you didn't even ask the Gramaladari. You conducted the search without doing the minimum.
Your Honor, we received mobile phone analysis reports. Based on that, we conducted the search.
Did you go to the Bopitiya house with a search?
No, Your Honor. We didn't obtain a search warrant. Our officers received information that he was there.
You said you questioned his sister, but no officer or witness has confirmed that. I suggest you are lying.
Your Honor, we acted based on the information our officers received. I'm only repeating what they told me. After he was suspended, he never returned home, according to our officers.
There are reports that Deshabandhu played badminton. How do you know that?
Your Honor, we received mobile phone analysis reports. Based on that, we conducted the search.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayatunga further remanded former Sri Lankan Airlines chairman Nishantha Wickramasinghe until the 15th of July. Wickramasinghe was arrested on the 27th of June in connection with an investigation into 3 allegations of corruption. During his court appearance, Assistant Director of Legal Affairs at the Commission to Investigate Allegations of Bribery or Corruption, Sulochana Hettiarachchi, explained the nature of the charges. She said that the investigation was initiated based on a report submitted on the 17th of March 2017 on an investigation carried out by a Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Among the allegations are causing a financial loss of $4,512 to the government due to the rerouting of a flight scheduled from Kuala Lumpur to Katunayaka on the 22nd of January 2014, causing a loss of $19,160 resulting from the transfer of 75 passengers originally scheduled to travel from the Maldives to France via Sri Lanka on the 26th of January 2014 to a different aircraft. Quoted statement from Sulochana Hettiarachchi.
Your Honor, on the 19th December 2014, the suspect used funds belonging to Sri Lankan Airlines to organize a musical event at the Katunayaka 18th-mile post grounds to support then-President Mahinda Rajapaksa's election victory. This event cost the government approximately 12.5 million rupees. The suspect abused his authority by assigning extra flight duties to flight attendant Chaturika Mohandiram in a manner that provided her with undue financial benefits. He also altered flight routes to suit his personal preferences, causing significant financial losses to the government.
Assistant Director of Legal Affairs at the Commission to Investigate Allegations of Bribery or Corruption, Sulochana Hettiarachchi, requested the court to remand the suspect, citing concerns that he may influence witnesses. In response, Attorney-at-Law Asela Rakava, representing Wickramasinghe, requested bail on medical grounds, stating that his client suffers from several health conditions. The legal team assured court that the suspect has no intention of leaving the country and will fully cooperate with the investigation. After considering the submissions, the magistrate ordered that Wickramasinghe be remanded until the 15th of July and instructed the Bribery Commission to conclude the investigation and report to court on that date.
The government of Japan has decided to extend aid for the 3-year anti-corruption project to support Sri Lanka's efforts in anti-corruption, together with the UNDP. The signing ceremony for this project between the Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka and the resident representative of the UNDP took place in Colombo today.
The signing ceremony for the 3-year anti-corruption project to support Sri Lanka's efforts in anti-corruption together with UNDP between the Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka and the resident representative of UNDP took place in Colombo today.
Sri Lanka is estimated to lose around 72 billion rupees annually due to corruption in revenue administration alone. Resources that could otherwise fund wealth, health, education, and essential services for the people. UNDP has been supporting tax policy reform because public distrust and administration inefficiencies have limited compliance. By restoring credibility, we can expand the tax base and strengthen public financing in a more equitable and sustainable manner. This project we are launching today builds upon a strong foundation. A key priority will be supporting the operationalization of the newly established internal affairs units across over 100 public institutions. These internal accountability units are vital to identifying, managing, and responding to corruption risks within institutions themselves. Empowering IAUs will foster preventive governance and enhance public sector integrity from the inside out.
Japan has reiterated its commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's efforts to combat corruption and rebuild its economy.
As Sri Lanka navigates through economic challenges, eradicating corruption is critically important for its economic recovery and sustainable growth. At the same time, allow me to add that the success of creating a society free from corruption is contingent on Sri Lanka's own determination and, in the end, its self-reliant efforts. Attracting foreign investment is critical in the path ahead of Sri Lanka's economic recovery and development. And for that purpose, it is imperative to regain confidence of foreign investors in the sound business environment in Sri Lanka. Japanese investors, I believe, are also paying a close attention to changes happening in Sri Lanka's social landscape with high regard for the new government's efforts and with high expectations. Further down the path, together with a safe and sound business environment, Japan would also like to see mid-term and long-term economic development strategy, including articulate sector-wide industrial promotion policies under the new government. It will make us better understand what opportunities are available for making fresh investments in Sri Lanka. It will show us a clearer path for how we can better work with Sri Lanka for mutual benefit. Japan continues to be closely together with Sri Lanka for all these future endeavors.
Chief guest for the event, Minister of Justice and National Integration Harshana Nanayakkara, spoke on the corruption that has taken place in the country in the past.
It took a long time for the Sri Lankan citizens to understand the impact of corruption and bribery. They kept on electing people they jolly well knew who were engaged in corrupt practices. They thought nothing will go wrong. But finally, we as a political party, National People's Power and the JVP, we struggled, we worked hard to educate the people, the impact of corruption. We told them, you will die with bad medicine. We said, you will eat substandard food, all because you're not fighting corruption. Nobody believed us. But by the time they believed us, people have died because of substandard medicine. People have gone blind because of substandard medicine. And the economy crashed. And some of the judgments being delivered by the honorable judges these days, when they're sentencing the culprits, they always say, one of the reasons for the crisis of our economy is this, corruption. But by the time our people heard it and decided to bring us to power, damage was done. So we had a bankrupt country, and even worse, up to an extent, bankrupt moral and value systems also. Now what has happened now? Has all the corruption stopped? The answer is no. But we are happy to say, at the highest level of political corruption is non-existent. If you take a ministry, secretary and above. If you take a board, chairman and above, zero corruption. But down the line, still it's there. There are some certain bugs in the system which needs to be debugged at some point in time. But this is not to upset the hardworking, honest bureaucrat in all these agencies. There are good men, there are good women. But the problem is, still at some decision-making places, you still have the ghosts of the old regime. So whenever we are trying to put in the new system of anti-corruption drive, you can see the old system resisting upwards.
We recognize that enforcement is at the heart of any credible anti-corruption strategy. It is not pass laws or launch awareness campaigns. Laws must be enforced, violations must be investigated, and justice must be served fairly, firmly, efficiently. Citizens demand integrity in governance, accountability and leadership, and transparency in public administration. With the introduction of Sri Lanka's new anti-corruption law and commitment to implementing the United Nations Conventions Against Corruption, UNCAC, we have a clear roadmap. What we now need a strong partnership, practical tools and capable institutions. To all our stakeholders from the justice sector, civil society, academia and the international community, I invite you to work with us on this journey. The fight against corruption is not the responsibility of single institution. It's a collective effort, one that demands a vigilance, courage and commitment of all sectors of society.
Newsfirst with the people.
The National Transport Commission has announced that starting today, the law requiring public transport bus drivers to wear seat belts will be strictly enforced. Minister of Transport Bimal Ratnayaka stated that this regulation will soon extend to passengers as well.
Although seatbelt use is mandatory while driving, it has not been properly enforced in public transport buses. Starting today, the law is being implemented. Minister of Transport Bimal Ratnayaka inspected both SLTB and private buses departing from PETA.
හිතන් ඉන්නවා සැප්තැම්බර් මාසේ වගේ ඉඳලා ඒවල එහෙම කරන්නේ. මගින් ටක් සීට් එක දාන්න. ඩ්‍රයිවර් මහත්තයා මොකෝ තත්ති? සීට් බෙල්ට් එක අදද දාන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා නැත්නම් ඔබතුමා කලින් දැම්මද? ඒකටම වාට වෙනසක් නැහැ නේ. දාන්න එපා නේද? ඔව් අනිවාර්යෙන්. ආණ්ඩුවෙන් කියන දෙයක් නැහැ. මේ අපේ ආණ්ඩුව වැරද්ද තමයි ඕවා. වාහනයක් ගෙන්නනකොට මේ ලොරි බොඩිනේ ගෙන්නලා තියෙන්නේ. සීට් බෙල්ට් හරියට එන්නේ නැහැ. කියන්නේ මේව ඇවිල්ලා ලොක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ලොක් වෙලා සීට් එන්න ඕනේ ජපාන් බෙල්ට්. මේව එන්නේ නිකන් ලොරි වලට ගහන බොඩි තමයි ගහලා ඒවලදී. සීමා ආරක්ෂාව නැහැ. ඒව තමයි අපි මොඩිෆයි කරලා ප්ලස්ටර් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකත් ඉතින් එපා කියනවා. මොඩිෆයි කරා. මොඩිෆයි කියන්නේ එහෙම මොඩිෆයි නෙමෙයි. සාමාන්‍ය මොඩිෆයි.
ඇත්තටම හොඳයි මේ සීට් බෙල්ට් එක දාන එක මේ ආරක්ෂිතයි මේ VCN හරිය මේ බලන්න.
සමහර බස්වල ඉතින් පරණ බස්වල සීට් බෙල්ට් නැහැ. ඒකට ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් ගන්න ඕනේ. නීති අනිවාර්යෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න ඕනේ. දාන්නේ හොඳයි ඔක්කොම හැම විදිහේ තියෙනෝනේ. CDB වලත් ඕන අපලත් ඕන. දෙගොල්ලට පැතු විදිහේ තියෙනවා.
ඇත්තටම ඉතින් හොඳයි. ඩ්‍රයිවර්ලට වගේම මේ ගමන් කරන මහ ජනතාවට ආරක්ෂාවටත් ගොඩක් හොඳයි.
ඊට පස්සේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන අධිවේගී මාර්ගයේ යන බස්වල සිරු මගින්ටත්.
We hope to make seatbelt use mandatory for all expressway passengers starting in early September. Many fatalities in Sri Lanka are due to accidents. Using seatbelts can significantly reduce that number. We also plan to mandate that passengers travelling in the back seat of private light vehicles on expressways to wear seatbelts. We've seen through enough videos showing how seatbelts save lives. Some say they didn't have time to install seatbelts, but there's been plenty of time. Looking at the upgrades made to some buses, it's surprising they couldn't install seatbelts. We've also received reports that some garages with the ability to install seatbelts are hiding them. We urge them not to profit off people's lives. If we find out, we will take legal action.
Meanwhile, traffic police officers inspected public transport buses in Colombo and other major cities to ensure drivers were wearing seat belts. Private buses were inspected with the participation of Road Passenger Transport Authority officials today.
The National Transport Commission has announced that bus fares will be reduced by 0.55% starting from midnight on the 4th of July.
This adjustment follows the annual fare revision, which had initially proposed a 2.5% reduction. However, the Commission stated that the percentage was revised following the latest fuel price adjustment, which came into effect at midnight yesterday. Despite the fare reduction, there will be no change to the minimum bus fare.
A young man was shot and killed in the Kahabat Koskala area. According to police reports, another young man was also injured in the shooting.
A shocking incident unfolded Monday night at around 9 in the Koskala area along Andana Road, Kahabat, where a group of unidentified individuals arrived at a residence claiming to be police officers. According to residents, the group, dressed in civilian clothing, attempted to abduct twin brothers and a friend from the house. One of the brothers managed to escape and later said that he had hidden nearby and witnessed the events unfold. Residents claim the group forcibly took away two young men. They later filed complaints with both the local police and the special task force. Police later confirmed that the two youth were taken in a jeep to a remote area in Koskala, about 4 kilometers from the residence where the shooting occurred. A pistol is believed to have been used in the attack. The deceased has been identified as Iranta Suranjana, a 22-year-old youth. The second individual, aged 27, was injured and is currently receiving treatment at the Kahabat hospital. Family members of the deceased alleged that he and others in the household had received threats in recent weeks.
business ice we couldn't heal. Gamesa darned Gagan Gila Gati Magola. Why is he a battle making like a phone call like a Katansa Karena, feminine Liapumatia, San Kolgata, field gear, kissing phone answer Karanine. Ye the was him Dagat the Vetalima Mukat the Gianduko.
However, police have denied these allegations, stating that no formal complaints regarding threats had been made by the deceased or his family.
The final rites of former Minister Galle Literary will be performed at the Dolekanatta Cemetery in Piliandala the day after tomorrow. He was 82 years old at the time of his demise.
Galle Literary, who had been ailing for some time, passed away last afternoon while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. His body was brought to his residence in Piliandala this morning. Galle Literary began his political career with the United National Party in 1960 and entered parliament through the Kasbah electorate in the 1983 by-election. He served as a member of parliament continuously for 41 years until 2024. Working closely with several heads of state, he held various ministerial portfolios in different governments, including tourism, sports, transport and labour. A senior leader of the United National Party, Lokug, later changed his political allegiance to support Mahinda Rajapaksa. Until his demise, he remained actively involved in politics as the Colombo district leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
In more local news, the Deputy Minister of Land and Irrigation says steps are being taken to release over 24,000 acres of land under the Forest Department in the Vaunia district to the farmers in the area. He made this statement during a meeting held in Vaunia today.
A special meeting on agricultural development in the Vaunia district was held in Vaunia today. The meeting was chaired by Deputy Minister of Land and Irrigation Susil Ranasinghe and attended by Deputy Minister of Cooperative Development Upali Samarasinghe, MP S. Thilanganathan, the District Secretary for the Vaunia district, government officials and other officials. Discussions focused on land and agricultural development in the district, challenges faced by farmers, the use of modern technology and issues related to fertilizers.
We discussed with the Cabinet Committee on Agricultural Matters and about the land declared as forest areas by the Forest Department, which actually belong to the farmers. It has been agreed that 24,000 acres of such land in the Vaunia district will be released back to the farmers. The boundaries of these lands have already been identified and steps are now being taken to hand them over soon.
Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Sri Lanka, Khalid Nasir Al-Ameri, said that about 20% of the tourists who come to Sri Lanka come through the UAE link. He made these remarks while attending a discussion on bilateral trade and investment between the United Arab Emirates and Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka is considered one of the largest trade partners for UAE, and our trade items varies from petroleum to tea, rubber, food items, mostly commodities. And this is something that we need to enhance, and we can also expand it to different sectors other than commodities. For the people-to-people relationship, we have a very vibrant Sri Lankan community in the UAE. We have more than 200,000 Sri Lankans who are working there. Mostly they are working in professional positions, banking, insurance, hospitality, construction, engineering, and all of that sectors. And this is contributing positively to both countries. It's contributing to the prosperity of the UAE and the growth, and also contributing positively to Sri Lanka by getting so much remittances. As a UAE, we are not considering ourselves as an oil exporting country anymore, because the oil is contributing only 25% of the GDP. We are more a trade hub, and we have a strength in logistics and connectivity, trade connectivity. Not before 10 years, we thought it's just for the region, South Asia.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that Sri Lanka's external sector continued its upward trajectory in May 2025, with the current account maintaining a monthly surplus for the 5th consecutive month.
Despite a widening trade deficit of $472.5 million, the country benefited from robust inflows in workers' remittances, tourism earnings and services exports, which helped offset the gap. However, the trade deficit narrowed compared to April 2025. Current account surplus $190.6 million, up 29% year-on-year. Workers' remittances $641.7 million, up 17.9% year-on-year. Cumulative $3.1 billion. Merchandise exports $1.03 billion, up 2.3% year-on-year. Merchandise imports $1.51 billion, up 7.3% year-on-year. Gross official reserves $6.3 billion, covering 3.8 months of imports. GOR include the swap facility with the People's Bank of China. Vehicle imports, including both personal and commercial vehicles, amounted to $118 million in May 2025, bringing the total for the period from January to May 2025 to $312 million.
In terms of direction of trade, the United States, India and the United Kingdom remain the top export destinations, while China, India and the United Arab Emirates continue to be the leading sources of imports in 2025 May as well as during the January to May 2025 period. Earnings from tourism in May 2025 were estimated at $164 million, recording cumulative earnings of $1.5 billion during January to May 2025.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that Sri Lanka's deflationary trend continued to ease in June 2025, signaling a potential shift towards positive inflation in the coming months.
The Colombo Consumer Price Index recorded a year-on-year headline deflation of 0.6% in June, slightly lower than 0.7% deflation observed in May. The monthly CCPI increased by 0.9%, driven primarily by the food category, which contributed 0.62 percentage points, while non-food items added 0.28 percentage points. Notably, core inflation, which excludes volatile items and reflects underlying price trends, rose to 1.5% in June from 1.2% in May, indicating a gradual pickup in inflationary momentum. Sector highlights: food inflation moderated to 4.3% from 5.2% in May. Non-food deflation decelerated to 2.8% from 3.3%. Quarterly average headline inflation for the second quarter of 2025 aligned with central bank projections. Inflation is expected to turn positive and gradually align with the target rate of 5%. The central bank emphasized that appropriate policy measures will support this transition.
Thailand's Constitutional Court has suspended Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra from duty pending a case seeking her dismissal, adding to mounting pressure on a government under fire on multiple fronts.
Thailand's Constitutional Court said it had accepted a petition from 36 senators that accused Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra of dishonesty and breaching ethical standards in violation of the constitution over the leak of a politically sensitive telephone conversation with Cambodia's influential former leader Hun Sen. The statement said there was reasonable cause to suspect that Paetongtarn had violated the constitution.
I accept the court's decision. From now on, I will cease performing my duties. I have approximately 15 days to clarify this matter. I apologize to all Thai people who feel uncomfortable or angry about this. I will continue to work for the nation as a Thai citizen, 100% ready to continue working no matter what position I hold.
The government is expected to be led by Deputy Prime Minister in a caretaker capacity, while the court decides the case against Paetongtarn, who will remain in the cabinet as the new culture minister following a reshuffle. In a 7-2 majority decision, the judges of the court agreed to consider the petition from the senators. Paetongtarn has been under increasing pressure over her handling of a border dispute with Cambodia and has been criticized for her deference towards Hun Sen during the phone call in which she referred to him as uncle and called a senior Thai military officer an opponent. She has apologized and said her remarks were a negotiating tactic. Thousands protested in the Thai capital Bangkok over the weekend calling for her resignation.
The Galle Literary Festival returns with its 13th edition, celebrating stories, art and conversation in the heart of Galle Fort.
After the resounding success of its 2025 edition, the Galle Literary Festival is set to return for its 13th year from the 22nd to the 25th January 2026, with the exclusive opening night scheduled for the 21st January. Once again, the streets of the UNESCO-listed Galle Fort will be transformed into a vibrant stage for writers, thinkers, artists and audiences from across Sri Lanka and around the world. Renowned for its intimate atmosphere and powerful programming, GLF 2026 will offer 4 immersive days of literature, performance, creative dialogue and cultural exploration. The 2026 edition of the festival will build on this momentum with plans underway for an expanded program featuring film screenings, live performances, an enriched children's festival and the Art Trail, a contemporary art festival showcasing leading South Asian artists across the fort.
Cinnamon Colombo Hotels hosted a special press conference to celebrate the outstanding achievements of Sri Lankan chefs at the Culinary Art Food Expo 2025, one of the country's most prestigious culinary events.
The press conference organized by Cinnamon Colombo Hotels was hosted to recognize the outstanding culinary achievements at Cafe 2025. The Culinary Art Food Expo 2025 covers every aspect of food from the factory to the table. Over 2,000 chefs from Sri Lanka competed for culinary excellence during 3 days of Culinary Art Food Expo.
When it comes to Cinnamon Hotels Colombo, we are always very proud about how we do things and what we do here. And when it comes to food quality and what we deliver in terms of service excellence, I think we are second to none in this city or in the island. This event is actually organized to thank and also recognize all those people who are behind these achievements, including the participants as well as the people who supported from behind the scene. And that's why we organized this, to say thank you, and you are really a great asset to Cinnamon Hotel and Resorts.
Culinary Art Food Expo returned for its 22nd consecutive edition, bringing together the best of the food, beverage and hospitality industries under one roof.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.